let's say I'm 62 and I take Social Security at that point, and then I get the job of my life 18 months later, then I can suspend my benefits, right, without any penalties, and I start accruing again, right?
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, Tim Stearns, CFP, president and founder of TJ Stearns Inc. Always a pleasure to have you along for the ride. Tim, what's been going on?
Nothing, Peter. It's that time of the year where people are trying to figure out different things, and I just kind of thought it was a great time to come up with a list about Social Security
Okay.
because pretty much everyone in the world gets it.
Yeah.
So, it's just a good time to re-educate people. I think people have misconceptions about it, right? They think that it's better than it is, or they think it's worse than it is. So why not give some cold hard facts so that they can make a educated decision?
Well, Tim, we've been in a tizzy about politics and take a breath, right? Part of that's over. But as far as politics affecting finance, I really can't think of a bigger area than Social Security where the two are intertwined. I know there are several others and taxes and retirement accounts and all the like, but Social Security seems to be at the forefront with the concern that we have for the solvency and the stability of the system. So it's more and more on each of our own individual shoulders to try to make the most out of the Social Security benefits that we have, right?
Yes, Peter. I mean, everyone's put into it. It's important to realize how it works and how it doesn't work. And I just think that, there's again a lot of major misconceptions on it. Talk at the water cooler where people are saying this, that, and the other thing. And I think, the truth can be lost in that. So that's one of the reasons that I think this list is so important.
Well, Tim, I know that you have talked previously about the fact that a well thought through and informed decision with Social Security versus one that is just kind of rushed or take it as soon as we can kind of thing without much forethought in it over a course of a lifetime can make a difference in several hundreds of thousands of dollars or more in income. And that's income that either comes from Social Security or that we have to draw from our personal assets and investments or just isn't there at all to start with. So of the three, I know which one I would prefer, and I think most of the listeners would agree that if possible, we'd like to get as much as we can out of Social Security and protect our personal assets as best we can using the income from Social Security as a tool to do that. So ladies and gentlemen, definitely worth the time and attention to make sure that you are well informed on your Social Security options, that you have thought through the different strategies, that you have really worked that and incorporated it into a plan to optimize the outcome with your Social Security. So Tim Stearns, CFP, along with us today, of course, has a resource for you. It is the 10 ways to maximize your Social Security benefits. It's a great article. And if you would like a copy of this article, if you hear anything on the program, but the real value of the program is that you can put this information into action and quantify it for your situation through a Social Security analysis with Tim Stearns, CFP. So if you'd like the article or if you'd like to execute and put into action the information we're talking about to try to optimize your benefits, pick up the phone and give TJ Stearns Inc. a call. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. And over the last 10 years, Tim, we know that Congress has made some changes to Social Security, but not the changes that have really addressed this coming shortfall that we see. So again, up to each one of our own individual responsibilities to make the most out of Social Security. And the number one on your list, I think it's one that most of us know, but delaying starting your benefit as long as possible, ideally to age 70. And I don't know if the word ideally is true for everyone's situation, but if we are looking to maximize Social Security itself, that would do the trick, right?
Yes, I mean the big idea here is that if you wait past your full retirement age, that you're able to grow your payments by 8% per year. So like my full retirement age is 67, it would grow by 8% each year. I can't guarantee that in the stock market. So why not do that? Also, if I have a spouse that hasn't worked as much as I have, by me letting it grow at 8% per year, if God forbid something happens to me, if my spouse doesn't have a big track record in Social Security, then they're able to actually draw down on mine, right? Because if I pass, they'll be having a bigger payout to them. So those are the things that we have to weigh out. One of the things that we do with people when they come to meet with us is we actually take them through a Social Security optimization report where we literally plan out, what does it look like? What are you thinking you want to do? And let's show you the optimized way to do it. It might line up with what their preconceived notions are, but if it doesn't, it just shows them when they're going into it, what they're going to be doing to themselves and maybe their spouse.
And Tim, a fully insured individual, somebody eligible to claim and collect Social Security, has a minimum of 40 quarterly credits or 10 years of earning history. And then all the way up through at least 35 years of earnings history get counted into the equation of what that benefit will be. So you can begin taking Social Security as early as 62. However, starting it at 62 will result in those benefits being permanently reduced compared to starting it at full retirement age. And at this time, full retirement age for most individuals is what, 67, right? You still maybe see a few who are 66 and some change. I know that they graduated that up. That's part of the changes that have occurred. But if you wait and from full retirement age all the way till 70, it keeps growing. Like you said, 8% per year. So you could theoretically get like 124% of your full retirement age benefit, right?
Right. But I have so many people come in here who are trigger happy. They're maybe 62 years old and they want to pull the trigger and be done with it. It's my money. I want to go get it. It's not going to be there down the road. And I hear that, but I don't think that that's the case. I think that, believe it or not, the government at some point will fix it because we all vote for them and they don't want to lose all those votes. So that is one thing that I think is kind of the sky is falling. I don't think that's really a thing. That being said, if you go at 62, you're only going to get 75% of your total value for, like you said, for the rest of your life. I think that that's a little scary.
Isn't that like a double doozy, a double whammy potentially, Tim? Because if we make the decision that way, like we got to rush out and get it because the system's in trouble. So I get it at 62. Now I've slashed my own personal benefit down to only 75% of what it could have been. And then because the system as a whole has trouble down the road, they've got to reduce benefits for everyone. Now my already reduced benefit of 75% gets further reduction. So maybe that's not the way to think about this problem, right? We should make the most out of it in case that happens in the future, not take the least possible.
I like where your head's at on that. That's a great theory, and I totally agree. You're looking at that could happen, and if that does happen, it does only furthers my argument that you should wait till full retirement age. And in my book, that's one of the things that we advocate for. We don't advocate till wait until 70. To each their own, right? The circumstances are different for all of us, but right off the cuff, I would tell you to wait till your full retirement age.
And by the way, that book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, ladies and gentlemen, is available on Kindle, on Amazon, on paperback, or in a digital read format. So if you would like a copy of Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, which talks about Social Security as well as a myriad of other challenges facing retirees today, check it out on Amazon, check it out on Kindle, and it does delve into some of these discussions on Social Security, making the most of Social Security. But today, we've got this fantastic article, this list from Tim Stearns. We are talking about the 10 ways to maximize your Social Security benefits, just one of those retirement riddles, but a lot of factors obviously go into each one of those because we've broken this one down into 10 different strategies. Number one, delaying starting your Social Security does help you increase that benefit. Number two, Tim, there is no marriage penalty when it comes to Social Security benefits. What do you mean by that?
Well, Peter, what we're talking about is that you don't get a haircut on either spouse's Social Security. They can get their full Social Security at whatever age that they want to pull down on it, right? Meaning if their age 67 is their full retirement age and they each are supposed to get $2,000, they each get that. There is a great add-on that I think is great and quite the opposite of a penalty is that if the higher spouse is earning, let's say, $30,000 and the other spouse only receives $10,000 a year, they can receive up to 50% of that higher amount. So in fact, in my example, that lower spouse that was getting $10,000 could get $15,000 based on the higher spouse's income, which is 30,000 in this example.
So it's a benefit for married couples
Absolutely.
here. And I guess rightfully so, Tim, thinking about what the Social Security system is set up for is that everybody has a base income. Well, what about those child raising spouses or homemaker spouses that didn't go into the workforce or didn't
Right.
spend as much time in the workforce? They also played a valuable role and are entitled to something. So that is the marital benefit, right, of the spousal
Right.
benefit for Social Security.
Right. And that's one of the nice things, but people don't know that. And here's the thing. Let's say you go to a Social Security office, they will not advise you. They can't. It's against the law for them to advise you. You tell them what you want to do and they're going to do it. So what I always tell people, if you're going to do that, call us first so that we can go through your options so that you're not making a drastic decision. On their website, it says it only takes 15 minutes to do this. Well, if you've worked 35 years, let's say, don't you think it begs the question you should put in a little more time than 15 minutes of your day, whether you're going to turn on your Social Security? And I'd also go a step further and say, make sure you have your spouse involved
Yeah.
so that you both understand the gravity of what you're about to do.
And as you mentioned, Tim, it's not the job of the folks down at the Social Security
No.
Administration office to provide proactive guidance. That's another one of those big reasons to have your spouse involved because they're not going to necessarily know to tie it to other benefits unless you tell them to tie it to other benefits, and they may not ask because they're taking orders as quick as they can down there. So
Right.
again, get the education ahead of time, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the big opportunities that you have for a true education on Social Security, how to optimize and maximize your benefit. Speak with an experienced, qualified professional such as Tim Stearns, CFP, and he makes that time available to you, no cost, no obligation, to go through all of the different scenarios and help you optimize your benefits. Just give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Now, Tim, this next tip comes with a caution, but the tip is continue to work additional years even after starting to receive your Social Security monthly retirement benefits. This can have advantages, but caution, there can also be a penalty involved, right?
Yeah, it's called taxation. So you need to watch, when you go into taking on Social Security and you're still working, they can withhold money basically, and that and thereabouts being a tax. It hasn't always been this way. It was in the late 80s that this started, and then in 92 they made an addition to that. There's a lot of, devil in the details there, and I would tell anyone who's thinking of doing that and then continuing to work to again give us a call so we can take you through what that looks like.
And the taxation on Social Security benefits, Tim, that is income driven. So there's an equation that includes basically every piece and every source of income. And if it's over certain thresholds, whether you're single or whether you're married, then a certain amount of your Social Security can become taxable, 50% taxable or 85% taxable. And that never goes away. But the penalty for working and earning on Social Security, at least that part of it can go away at full retirement age, right?
That's exactly right. But I don't think a lot of people know that. And so someone pulls down their Social Security at age 62 because they're able to do it and the money's there, et cetera, et cetera. They end up getting taxed, and I don't think they realize that. So what we try to tell people is, get educated before you're going to pull triggers on these different ages of pulling Social Security.
but the penalty and the taxation of the benefits, two kind of separate issues. One is temporary only till full retirement age, the other pretty much a permanent state. And nothing says that they can't extend or change either one of those.
That's correct. So yeah, they're two very different things. And again, if you go on their website, it's not that great for education purposes. And I would tell anyone who's going to go do that, give us a call before you do it so you don't go down a rabbit hole by yourself.
Now, Tim, sometimes we make a decision on Social Security, like that we're going to go claim and collect it. And then thereafter, sometimes conditions can change. I know that if we have not really intended to retire, but involuntarily we're reduced in force or we're laid off, one of the things that a lot of people consider doing is going and getting Social Security. And then maybe some of those folks do find gainful employment thereafter. So tip number 4, even without the file and immediately suspend strategy, that was one of those things that they changed about the laws back in 2016. But even without that strategy, even though that no longer exists, you can suspend benefits. And there are times where suspending your benefits may make sense, it sounds like.
Right, Peter. So if let's say I'm 62 and I take Social Security at that point, and then I get the job of my life 18 months later, then I can suspend my benefits, right, without any penalties, and I start accruing again, right? The other way we can do it, of course, is within 12 months, you just have to make sure you pay the money back. But
Yep.
I'm saying you can actually suspend after 18 months or whatever it might be and actually start to regrow basically your Social Security benefit.
So there is that 12-month window. For the first 12 months, if your conditions rapidly changed and suddenly you didn't need the Social Security,
Sure.
you could just undo the whole thing. Like
That's
basically
right.
call a mulligan, right? But you do have to pay it back.
Yes,
Strategy number 2 that we're talking about here with the suspending benefits, Tim, if we either can't pay it back or it's been longer than 12 months, and then we get that dream job, suspending benefits still may make sense so that the benefit itself continues to grow and accrue. Plus, we get credits for all those new years of earning.
that's right. And that's a lot of people don't know about that. And if you go down to the Social Security office, they're not going to help you on this stuff. It can get really, really deep if you go into all the different ways. I mean, there's what over 400 ways to turn on Social Security, right? Most people use about 10 of them. But I mean, there are, devil in the details is what I always talk about with this stuff. So make sure you're going in with your eyes open.
Yep. Number 5, again, we're covering 10 ways to maximize your Social Security. Tim, number 5, I think, is one that most people really realize. It may not be the most attractive of all of these, but continue working, right? Is that earning and maximizing your income, earning more is going to give you a higher Social Security benefit.
Right. I think people think it's not going to move the needle that much, but it does. And I think every bit helps in retirement. I have so many different baby boomers that are coming in here and they're worried about their nickels, that the nickels add up to be $1 and so on and so forth. So we are always telling people, if you're able to continue to work and you're worried about running out of money, that might be a nice way to offset that issue with yourself.
But there is a maximum earning in 2024, Tim. We only contribute into Social Security up to what, $168,600. So over and above that, any additional earnings, aren't getting taxed for Social Security and then don't go into the equation for how much will be paid in the future, right?
That's correct. The limit is $168,000 and 600. So you're looking at, anything over that, it's not very helpful.
All right, number 6, a widow or widower, Tim, can start collecting as early as age 60.
That's correct. So if you lost your spouse and you're under the age of 60, when you get to be 60, you can actually turn on some of that benefit for yourself, which is obviously very important, because you're missing out on income that the spouse was pulling into the house. And again, another example of every little bit helps.
And Tim, because we are able to then swap benefits, our own benefit may continue to grow and accrue, and then we can later swap to our own benefit.
Exactly. That's a great way to say it, Peter. You know, turn it on, get the money while you can, and then flip it back over to your own record.
Tim, Social Security income is protected from claims of judgments, creditors, litigations, lawsuits, but not protected from debts owed to the IRS, right?
Uh, Death and taxes, as Benjamin Franklin said.
Yeah.
So yes, that is correct. And don't forget federal student loans. So, you know, you can declare bankruptcy, and yet federal loans, whatever you owe, and then of course the IRS levies, you still own that as well.
Again, we are talking with Tim Stearns. We are discussing the 10 ways to maximize Social Security benefits, an article that we've got here. And if you would like a copy of this, just pick up the phone, give Tim Stearns, CFP, a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640 2256. As we've mentioned a couple times in the program, if you would like to sit down and run the Social Security optimization report, Tim Stearns also makes that available to you. No cost, no obligation. In fact, it's part of the Protect and Grow planning process that he has there at TJ Stearns Inc. and something that he takes everyone through because Social Security certainly plays large implications into your larger retirement security. You want to make the most of it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't leave any stone unturned or aspect or strategy overlooked. Get that education. Give Tim Stearns, CFP, a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256 for that complimentary review, retirement planning and Social Security optimizing strategy session. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, number 8, not all Social Security benefits are taxable. Now, we've talked about this and hinted at it a couple times, but the first little bit of Social Security we receive likely will not be taxable, right?
Right. So for an individual who files as a single, under $25,000 is not taxable. And then for a married couple, it's actually $32,000. So if you make underneath $32,000, Social Security will not be taxed.
And then, Tim, you cross those thresholds and 50% of it becomes taxable. And then you cross
Yes.
further thresholds and
Go all the way up to
85% of it.
85%.
Do you think at some point in time they're going to put a 100% threshold in there, Tim?
If you've seen the federal deficit, yes, I do think that.
Yep.
You know, they have a lot of money that they're spending, and you know, how do you get out of a deficit? Tax more, right?
Yep. Well, considering they made these changes a decade apart under two different administrations, under the Reagan administration, kind of the first threshold went in, under the Clinton administration,
Yep.
the second threshold went in, and they've never been inflation adjusted, but Social Security continues to have some talk of the solvency problems. Tim, I can't imagine that they won't go back to, well, what has worked before, right? And I think that they would look at this one is just let's tax more of it. Number 9, marriage, divorce, death, remarriage. Tim, your marital situation plays in to Social Security to a large extent.
Right. So if you were married over 10 years, you are able to pull down on your ex-spouse's Social Security. A lot of people do not know that. Now, if you get remarried, that stops, that those payments will stop. So these are things that you need to worry about if you are, you know, divorced or, you know, and you're remarried, you will not get the same benefits. So again, when you're in these different quandaries, you're going to want to rely on someone who's an expert on Social Security, and they're not going to give you the advice at the Social Security office. And I would tell you to give us a call.
Now, Tim, does the ex-spouse need to sign off on this?
Ex-spouse won't even know about it. And if I had a nickel every time I told someone in class, they said, "Oh, don't worry, I have his Social Security number." So,
Right.
and which is kind of humorous to me. So, yes, that's correct. They won't even know about it.
Won't even know about, so their benefit is not reduced at all.
No, and therein lies a problem. If I was married 3 times for 10 years apiece, the ex-spouses can pull down on my record, right? And that's the same dollar. And it's coming to me and it's coming to 3 other people. And that's why you have problems with Social Security
Well,
being solvency.
I'm sure there were some people out there excited that they could pull off their spouses and then some maybe disappointed that it doesn't affect their benefit at all, right,
Exactly.
Tim? The way that goes, right? Number 10, Tim, probably the most important out of every one of these points is work with a financial professional who can help you in understanding when to claim your Social Security benefits. This can make, ladies and gentlemen, probably the biggest difference. And Tim, I know you've got a horse in this race, but you have seen personally firsthand many times over what a difference this can mean in the amount of income somebody can generate from Social Security.
Well, it's going to make up in most cases 40% of someone's income in retirement, and only 4% of Americans have chose the optimum claiming strategy. So I would argue that you need someone to kind of shotgun it for you and figure out what is the best claiming strategy for you, because we're all different. And by having an income allocation plan, this is part of that.
What does that process look like, and what information does somebody need to bring along to really run through the scenarios and maximize their benefit?
We need a date of birth for their spouse and themselves, and we can run a nice report and figure out exactly where the rubber meets the road as far as when you think, when you cross over and you're trying to get into the government's pocket so that you're not leaving money on the table.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Stearns, his team there at TJ Stearns Inc., they do offer, this is a complimentary service, the Social Security Optimization Report. It does not take too long, but the difference in several hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement certainly deserves a 30 to 60 minute investment of your time to make sure that you are making well thought through, informed decisions, maximizing and optimizing that benefit. So give Tim Stearns, CFP, a call, and he can walk you through the process and help you to coordinate your Social Security benefits with the rest of your retirement income plan. That is the Protect and Grow planning process. Pick up the phone, give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, we always appreciate your time here on the program. You've been a resource for so many proactive planners, savers, investors in and throughout the Chicagoland area, and so many more need that help. We need to make the most of our opportunities for our financial future.
We are here to help, so please give us a call.
800-640-2256. Remember, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, available on Amazon, on Kindle. You can also find links to it on the website, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. Tim, we always appreciate your time.
Thanks, Peter.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.